Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Pipebomb Radio tonight. Our special guest, wrestling legend, the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. Joining me as always tonight, the one and only Austin. What's up, buddy?
Wow, I love how you refer to me as the one and only.
Thank God for that. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, no, most people say the same exact thing. But, Ivan Koloff, my God, we just had Bruno Sammartino on like last year. Now we can officially say that Pipebomb Radio has interviewed the guy who's defeated a past guest in the Pipebomb Radio to become the third ever WWE champion.
Well, we want to make a quick announcement before we bring on Mr. Koloff, who is patiently waiting now. I will let Austin go ahead and bring this up now, so we can go ahead and proceed. Austin, fire away.
Well, this Saturday night we are actually having the return of Saturday Night Slam. We heard everybody talking about it. They all want Saturday Night Slam back, and we're actually going to be bringing it back this Saturday night. More details after the interview.
There you go. Without any further ado, Mr. Ivan Koloff. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Very good, comrade. How you doing, Felix?
Thank you so much. I'm doing well. And, of course, I'm joined with my co-host, Austin.
Hello, sir.
Austin, how are you?
Doing great. I cannot even tell you how much of an honor it is to actually speaking to you right now.
Well, my pleasure. Yes, I can relate to it because I was a big fan of wrestling and, of course, a 52-year career so far. So,
wow.
It's a good part of my life.
I actually wanted to let Austin start off because he did have some questions for you, Mr. Koloff. So, Austin, fire away.
Okay, awesome. So you actually, you growing up on a dairy farm in Canada, and what I wanted to know is, did your parents ever expect you or ever want you to grow up and continue with doing that job?
As far as wrestling, oh yes. Yeah, matter of fact, I can recall back about 1950, we didn't have electricity or anything on the farm, so we had a friend, though, that Mom and Dad knew that ended up having what they call a television, and we went there to visit them one day, and wrestling was on, and of course, I fell in love with it. I was about 8 years old, and man, that was it. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be one of these guys that wrestled and kept that dream. And when I was just 19 years old, I went to a wrestling school and ended up becoming a wrestler, and been trying to do that ever since.
So were your parents open to you actually doing that, or were they kind of hesitant?
Well, my mom actually encouraged it just by going around saying, "Now this, my son here, he's going to be a champion one day in wrestling," and she'd announce that to anybody and everybody, including the other kids, my father, whatever, and she'd be bragging on me, and of course that caused me to get into a lot of different wrestling matches with my brothers, and sometimes it spilled over into some bloody noses, and yeah, we really got intense because I guess they wanted to find out if I was tough enough to be a wrestler. And I was a middle child, so older and younger brothers and sisters, 10 kids in the family, so I had all the opponents I wanted.
Yes, sir. I actually wanted to ask a question. Going in when you were wrestling for Vince McMahon Sr., I wanted to ask you, because I've always heard such wonderful things about him. From your experiences working with Vince Sr., I mean, could you tell us a little bit of what it was like working for Vince? What kind of man was he?
Oh, a gentleman, a real nice guy. I've really found that Vince Jr. went out of his way to be really nice to the boys. I don't know if it's just his character or what, or if he really tried to be friendly. I, after a while, concluded that it was because he was just a nice man, because every time you seen him, which was at least every 3 weeks for television taping or at a big show, he'd show up, and you could tell by the way he treated not only the main event guys, but the younger guys too, that were on the underneath card, and he would be, the smile, the handshake, and he was friendly, and he was a man you could talk to. You had a problem, you could go talk to him, and yeah, I can remember just like it was yesterday that many times he'd end up doing whatever he had to do to make you happy. It seemed like, anyway, he'd let you know how he felt about it too. And I really got along good with him. And as far as I got along good with both senior and junior, because when I first went in there, junior was the commentator in '69. Yeah.
I do remember, too, everybody was saying, a lot of their time in the WWWF at the time was, their contract was more of like a handshake. It was based on a handshake for their time there, because they just, when they take you at your word, it actually meant something back then.
That's right, yes. They seem to do that all over, the promoters. The only time I had a contract was when I went overseas, like Japan or Australia or something like that, that you ended up having a contract. But, it was mostly and I guess that was for both sides. I suppose if the promoter didn't work out, the promoter wasn't committed to you, for a certain length of time or anything like that. I guess the deal was that if you gave a notice, and on both sides, if I was leaving, I'd give him a notice. If you didn't want me no more, give me a notice, give the wrestlers a notice. And consequently, it made it for a good working atmosphere, I think.
And going into detail on who actually trained you and where you trained, who was the guy who actually trained you?
It was a gentleman by the name of Jack Whitworth. That was in Hamilton, Ontario. He was... Actually, there was two different schools in Hamilton at that time. There was a guy by the name, an old-timer by the name of Al Spittles. He was on the west side of town, and Jack Whitworth was on the east side of town. Jack Whitworth had a ring. The other guy just had mats. So the advantage of Jack Whitworth, of course, is the ring, and that's where I ended up going to the wrestling school. And there was a lot of great wrestlers came out of Hamilton. In the past, Missing Link, Dewey Robinson, Johnny Powers, guys like the Toluses were from around there. A lot of guys, Red Lions, I believe, some old names in the wrestling business. And let me see, the guy that wrestled as Love, Dr. Love, passed away years ago in a car accident. He was a big star for Vince McMahon up there, and who's a lot of guys. I love brothers too. Were from there. I probably, if I made a list here, I could come up with a couple dozen names at least. That people would recall. Yeah.
So did you actually, when you were training initially in a wrestling ring?
Yes. Yeah, it was in a wrestling ring, and. Every Thursday, Jack would have a live show at his facility, and the public was allowed in, and I think he charged like $1 a ticket.
Wow.
They had a lot of professional wrestlers around that area. That some of them came from Jack's school. They graduated and would come back and help Jack by putting on wrestling matches, and they would usually do the main event and have some of the new students be the lower matches, the beginning match, preliminary matches, and that way it gave the show, I guess, a lot of interest, because I can recall going down there and a couple hundred people being in there. It just really excitement, a lot of excitement, and so much so that I ended up sticking my nose in it one day and became active in one of the matches that was going on. And I tell some of these stories in my book that I wrote, but it was. I just realized at that time I was a real fan, because I always could understand later on any fans wanting to jump in the ring, to get you, because you get worked up because your man is getting beat up, or the guy is ending up doing illegal moves or something wrong, and you end up wanting to bring it to the attention of the referee, and you jump in the ring. And I did that, and ended up actually making a big fool of myself, because I ended up punching one guy and hitting the other guy over the head with the chair, and being asked to leave by the owner, Jack Wentworth. Came back next day, and I was starting the school. It was a little embarrassing, my beginning lessons, because of what I had done the night before, but it was part of my experience in learning to wrestle. But when you're young like that and you're so interested in something, you throw yourself into it sometimes, and you should be sit down watching and learning.
So you actually, when you were 8 years old, you talked about, first watching wrestling. Who were the wrestlers that actually caught your eye at first? Or who you were interested in at first?
At that time, the guys that I was watching was guys like Yukon Eric, Bulldog Brower, Killer Kowalski was around, Billy Watson, the Tolos Brothers, Billy Red Lions, Red Bastien. I'm trying to think. The original Sheik, Matt Dog. A lot of old timers. Haystack Calhoun, guys like that. Yeah, I was. As I was coming up and learning the wrestling, I'd watch the Kalmakoffs on the TV, and of course my hero Bruno Sammartino. As I got a little older, because he became champion in '63, and he was featured in the late '50s, early '60s, and around the Toronto area. And man, that's the guy that I really wanted to be like is Bruno Sammartino. Abruzzi, Italy, 290-pound strongman.
Yes, he was. And I wanted to actually going off of that point. If you could take us back to that night when you actually got to wrestle Bruno for the title, I mean, what was going through your mind? I mean, do you remember the crowd reaction, and just kind of set the mood and kind of tell us what it was like for you back then?
Well, by this time, of course, I'd had quite a few matches, quite a few years of wrestling, even though this is just '69, and I've been graduated from wrestling school about 1962. So I started getting a few matches, but by the time I got there, I had 6-7 years under my belt. I ended up wrestling in Montreal area for 2 years before I got there, and of course, as Ivan Koloff became Canadian champion and got referred to McMahon's and the WWWF, and ended up being set up there to wrestle Bruno. Oh, you can imagine the excitement and the nervousness that I had, and just the idea that I was going to be able to wrestle against my hero. But for that, the whole 8-10 months of wrestling, '69 through to '70, winning a few matches but never winning the belt, left and went to Australia on a tour. Got a message when I was back in Hawaii, enjoying myself, to come back to New York and wrestle Bruno again and take somebody's place, and ended up coming back and winning the belt. That night, needless to say, you can imagine a sellout crowd. It was Bruno was just so loved. He was a legend. He is a legend, still is, as far as in wrestling, and the people loved him. And for just the nervousness that I had of, seeing the crowd walking out there. By this time, I had built myself from a guy that was 200 pounds up to 300 pounds, and was bench pressing, 500, was squatting 500. So I was fairly strong myself, and I was confident because I had won the Canadian belt, and I'd been wrestling a lot of main event guys from Japan to throughout Canada, and ended up feeling pretty confident, but I still remember nervous, and I must say, thinking about it after, I was thinking to myself, man, what a mean guy. Here I am winning the belt from my hero. I felt bad for about 2 seconds there, but I understood that Bruno at that time had been champion 7.5 years, and he had a lot of injuries, and I believe that that helped me a lot to become champion, and the fact that he probably needed recovery time to from his injuries, and I got him at a good time and won the belt, and because he ended up winning it back again, holding it for several more years. So, yeah.
But you know, how remarkable is that? Because for 7 years nobody can beat him, and you're the man that beat him first time.
That's great. Yeah, you know, I remember it just like it was yesterday. As far as the people after the 1, 2, 3, I jumped off of the top, and you know, evidently Bruno did go to the hospital at one of the jumps off the top when I landed up, because you know, you see somebody with 300 pounds coming off the top at you, you tense up, just a natural reaction, and they tore the muscles in his stomach. Well, doing so, the 1, 2, 3 came, and I remember it sounded like a funeral in the place because, you know, the people went so quiet. No booing, no cheering, nothing. I told the referee, you know, well, he came over and raised my hand. I says, "Where's the belt?" And he said, "Never mind, go back to the dressing room." I guess the referee sensed that people were very upset, and to go back to the dressing room. And he was right, because when I went back, of course, they gave me the belt there and made the announcement. People were crying and saying things like, "Bruno, you'll always be our champ. You'll get it back," and stuff like that, you know. But they're actually people crying to that, and, you know, really showing their affection for their champ, Bruno Sammartino. So, indeed, when we went to leave after, and Captain Lou Albano testified to that, he did an interview to that extent, that the people were so upset that we had to fight our way out, literally fight our way out, because when we got downstairs, got in the cab, the door opened up and the cab went to route. The people rushed in and tried to upset the cab and to get to us, you know. So it was very dangerous. Yeah. And,
you know, actually, I wanted to mention, too, at one point in your career, you actually got to be part of this the group, the Russians, with yourself, Nikita, and Crusher Khrushchev. And what was that experience like for you that you can recall? Was it a good time? Did you guys, was it something that you were ready to do? Be a part of a stable? What was some of your fondest memories of that time working with these two gentlemen?
Well, I believe it was it regenerated my career in a sense, because I had wrestled at that time 83. See, I started in 62, so I had about 20 years under my belt, but over about 12 years of that was being a main event, the type of caliber wrestler. And by 83, it was like, to have somebody like Nikita, a nephew, added to the team, and Crusher was a real great asset as a wrestler. And the whole thing with the Road Warriors and Rock and Roll Express, it was a couple of real good years for us there, and it really regenerated the Russian thing, the team, and the whole concept of, I guess, that was during the Olympics. I remember coming out with the scores of the gold medals from the Russians compared to the Americans. And, of course, right now we can relate a lot to that because of the Olympics going on. But back then it was very intense. The we had to fight our way to the ring often and fight the way back. They'd come into the ring after the people, because they're hated those Russians, you know.
Well, so even too back then during those times too, I know that the heels of that generation, I think and you guys as an example, or even like the Iron Sheik or Nikolai, and just to name a few, I can remember people talking or even reading stories about the fact that people would be so into the matches that they'd have such resentment and anger and want to actually throw things or even attack you guys. And I think even some of them have been stabbed a few times just even trying to get to the ring.
Oh yes, yeah. I've had lawsuits. Had to fight my way and had to fight back and hurt somebody. I broke one guy's jaw one time because of that. Ended up having nails bent over, shot on elastic bands and sticking my head. Had one night in the Montreal area, me and Ernie the Cat Ladd, we had one of the biggest riots I've ever been in. We had the Rougeaus, which was a local team, the paper, that thing. They had the belts, and we ended up winning one fall from them and got disqualified one fall. It was 2 out of 3. And so the last fall didn't even go on because the people seen that we won one fall, got disqualified, beating them up the second fall. They figured that their team didn't have a chance against us, and they showed their feeling towards us and started filling the ring up with chairs. And I remember hollering at the cat, Ernie the cat, hey, what do we do? He said, pick up a chair, kid, and start blocking it. They started filling the ring up with chairs, fight all the way back to the dressing room, and like a real jerk, I ended up, before I went through the dugout hole in the arena, because it was an ice arena for hockey, I ended up looking back to see, and bad mistake, because here comes a chair flying through the air, hit me right in the nose. So that was unfortunate. But that was just one of the cases. I'm from Puerto Rico to Boston, guards, and all the different places, Russia and Japan. So many people attacked me and tried to throw things at me. Even had a knife thrown at me that was open that I still have to this day. It hit me in the back. Thank God it was the handle hit me in the back. Picked it up, and I used it against my opponent to beat him, and sort of gave the okay sign up in the crowd where the knife came flying from. And I don't know, I guess I heard a commotion up there, so I guess the fans jumped on that that fan over there, got beat up because they figured he threw me a weapon to use against my opponent. And so I turned the tide all around. But, so many times fighting, out of the arena. These stories I tell in my book, like I say, people coming up to you after and saying things like, you guys think you're in a street fight? How about fight me in a street fight? And before I could put my package of drinks down, my partner, Buzz Sawyer, this is in the Columbus area, Ohio area, ended up using the guy as a broom to sweep up the parking lot. Picked the guy up and was, I'll never forget it, because as I came out, it said, tried to put my own partner off of this guy because he was hurting him. The cop pulled up and pulled a gun out. He yelled at my partner, Buzz Sawyer, drop that man. Like it was, drop that gun, type thing. But he had him up and he was shaking him so bad that the guy was screaming. But just different incidents of things that happened like that. The people were just so intense, But like I said, I could understand it because I was the same way as a fan. You get so enthralled in the excitement of the match and what's going on. And, you jump in there, try to help.
So after you actually lost the WWWF title, were you kind of relieved that you weren't going to have to deal with all that violence?
I think I heard the name. Where did I go from there, you meant? Or?
Oh, no, I was going to say that...
he was saying as far as after you lost the title, did you feel like relief that you wouldn't have to deal with fighting through the crowd to deal with the violence? But I think in reality, even when you were with the Russians, you dealt with it a little bit more too then at that point, right?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't want to lose the belt for sure. As far as I was concerned, I never did lose it to this day. Because if anybody looks at the film from that, I don't think they wanted me to have the belt because the promoters really felt it didn't want to have a Russian be the champion because they wanted an ethnic type of good guy to have the belt. And because if to look at it, I had Pedro Morales in a bear hug, not bear hug, a full Nelson, from behind, like how you get a full Nelson of someone, and he kicked the top turnbuckle, which knocked me off balance and to go down. I dropped my hands down around his waist and bridged backwards, and both our shoulders are down. Well, his is definitely down. I'm on the offense I got him in the offense, and he's in the defense, and I got his shoulders down, figuring that they're going to count his shoulders down, but they counted my shoulders as being down, but my shoulders couldn't be down because I had my arms around his waist. You know, his shoulders are off of the mat, but they counted down anyway and made it stick. So, but that's just one of those grievances you went in there, but it's too late after it's done. You know that they're going to do what they want to do. But no, dangerous as it was, whether it was in the WWF or WWE, NWA, wherever in the world you were wrestling, it was just dangerous just about anywhere, really. It was the type of thing that you could have a fan jump up at. There's been guys knifed, you know, like cut open because of a fan being upset, hit with clubs or bats or whatever, you know.
Now, where's the security holder?
I wanted to ask you, actually, Mr. Koloff, if, you know, both Austin and myself really have strong feelings in the sense that we feel you're gonna, there is a place for you in the WWE Hall of Fame this year. We think you're gonna get it, but we're not sure. Now, if per se the time does happen and you're given that honor, who would you feel would be the best person to induct you into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, I know of a lot of guys. I had a lot of tag team partners over the years, of course, including Nikita, a lot of guys that I go way back with as far as friends, you know,
yep.
But I don't know. But to me, it'd be the biggest honor, of course, Bruno Sammartino, because he was my hero since a youngster. But, you know,
that's a great idea.
Part of it there, that part of it there is up to the, you know, Vince McMahon, of course, and the WWE. Just to have that honor of being inducted in the Hall of Fame, to me, would be the elite of it. You know, here I wanted to be a wrestler at such a young age, end up becoming a wrestler, having a hero, getting to wrestle that hero, and winning the belt, and then wrestling after that, and having a dozen different belts through my career, and just having a long career, and just loving it, just enjoying it so much. To me, to be honored by the greatest organization ever in professional wrestling, the WWE, you know, to me would be the honor, such a great honor, be the topping on the dessert, I guess, really, because New York was always looked at as, you know, the Big Apple, looked at as being the hub for wrestling. To me, anybody I ever mentioned years and years ago, you know, wrestling, they knew it was all over the world. They knew that there was different alliances, different organizations, but it just seemed like when, no matter where you went in the world, from Japan to Australia, wherever, if you mentioned New York, as far as it was mentioned as the WWWF, of course, back then, as being the elite of so I have my hats off, and, you know, you can't help but admire the ingenuity and business sense of the big bands to take it from $1 million business to $1 billion business and still going strong today.
Absolutely. And I did want to ask you, as we start to wind the show down a little bit, is for you to tell us a little bit about what you're doing today. What is it that I've read that you're an ordained minister, that you take part of, you actually volunteer in charities and and so forth, and you still actually do the meet and greets with wrestling fans from time to time as well. And tell us a little bit about what you do now.
Yes, you know, back there in '89, I ended up quitting the wrestling, television wrestling, I call it, you know, big-time wrestling, and went to the independent circuit simply because of injuries and the idea that it was a go through and change, you know, pay-per-views and such, and I had suffered during my career with just the way it goes with a lot of different professions, with drugs, alcohol, and such, and I ended up really struggling with that, and the injuries that I wanted to get off, clean my act up, and I just felt that I could do it. You know, I felt I was strong enough to do it, but struggled with that for 3 or 4 years. I couldn't accomplish that, quitting the drugs, the alcohol, and all this, and I just felt real bad about that. But I got to the point where 1995, I was approached by my nephew and Nikita, and I was told that I needed Jesus in my life. And I said, Nikita, what are you talking about? I was raised in church. I know who Jesus is. And he says, well, the devil knows who Jesus is too, but that doesn't make him a Christian. And he got my attention. That's
true.
So anyway, I ended up taking him up on his words and going to the church and realized the chance that I had there, and there's the truth about the whole matter is that Jesus paid for the price for our sins. And I accept him and have him work in my life. I'd be able to accomplish my desire as far as getting off of drugs and alcohol. And indeed, it just happened just like I'm saying. That day I was really touched by the Lord and ended up having the strength to get off the drugs, the alcohol, and I became ordained, yes, and I still go out and brag and love going out and bragging the Lord, use my testimony as within He's a good God. He ends up taking the bad, turning it into good. I ended up going out there and not only officiating weddings at churches, but speaking at churches, and I really enjoyed doing that. I tried before I really became a Christian, I figured, well, if I start doing some good things, and that was 22 years ago, I started doing autographs, that God would bless me, and indeed that's what happened. He already had it worked. He had introduced me to Nikita. Nikita had become a Christian, so I ended up becoming a Christian, and that was really helped me. And today now we really do some unique things. Matter of fact, that Ted DiBiase came up with the concept of, we call it, doing some, just something like the power team. I don't know if you ever heard them, but instead of lifting weights and bending bars and breaking stuff and all that, we put on wrestling matches, and we turned the show into a couple of testimonies, sermons, and that's really worked out great. We've been doing them all these years, and I've seen it where the arena turned into a church and had hundreds of people come forward, receive Christ. And I would recommend it to anybody, really. But it's really an honor now just to be able to go out and be able to talk to people with some sense about me, not just be whole conversation, be about drugs, alcohol, partying, and all this. And I'm really happy that where my life has taken me now. I've heard enough people in the past, my crazy lifestyle, and because like I said in the book I wrote, that wrestling fake, the bare facts by Ivan Koloff. That's the name of the book. That wrestling fake. I compare it to Evel Knievel anyway, but anybody would like to go to my website, ivankoloff.com. There's a link there to the author of my book, Scott Teal, and that address is crowbarpress.com. You get my book. If anybody would like to help my ministry, there's a place to donate on there on my website, ivankoloff.com, and or if you want me to officiate their wedding, they can.
I was just going to say, you can also be there to do somebody's wedding for them, which I thought was pretty awesome too.
Yes, I try to do it around North Carolina here, South Carolina, this area, because you're traveling too far, then it takes you away from the grandkids and the kids and all this, but I really enjoy doing it. Pretty busy on the weekends with churches and such, and if not that, I'm going to still doing some autographs, whether it's at Walmart, Kmart, wherever it's at, for different organizations and Children's Miracle Network, St. Jude's or whatever it may be. But I really enjoy that because it gives me a chance to visit with the people and show them the other side of the Ivan Koloff. I always wanted to be a good guy. They just told me I was too ugly, so I had to be the bad guy. But I enjoy it, really do. Appreciate any type of help that people like to donate or buy a picture, autograph pictures. Just go to the website. And also my daughter now, I'm so proud of her. She's a gospel singer, highwayrevival.com.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's her youngest daughter. They're really good. Her and her husband, they go out singing. They even got the grand singing with them some songs. One is 11, the other is 7. and they're really good. Yeah,
definitely the proud grandpa.
Yep.
Yeah. Highwayrevival.com. Yeah, go to the website, check them out too. I think you'll be really.
They also does it also have links to your Facebook and your Twitter I think you have a Twitter, right?
Yes, my wife looks after all of that. I believe there is a link to all that stuff to them. And
nice.
I believe the Twitter, we just started up on that not too long ago, but I'm always tries to keep up on it, but it's mostly Facebook and our website,
Very cool, very cool.
I want to
and are you actually going to be appearing anywhere anytime soon, or going to be making any appearances at all?
Yes, well, hopefully the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wait till I get that call first before I cut my eggs, right? But I just have some local stuff around here that I'm doing, like the local churches and weddings and such here. I just tried to think of something that was really in the near future. Well, Clayton, the end of March, of course, the young promoter there ends up the 29th. He has me in Clayton at the fitness center. He calls the show after me, the Ivan Koloff Tag Team Tournament.
Nice.
Fitness center in Clayton near Raleigh. And that is fun, yeah, to do that. And, of course, I got some other things that coming up with a lot of autograph sessions that this young man is putting me through. Matter of fact, one is going to be up in New Jersey on the 12th of April, and that is with for a friend that ended up passing that was part of the business, and that will be I'll advertise on our site when the time comes closer, of course. But yeah, just
actually, I wanted to ask one last question before I let you go. If the opportunity presented itself somewhere down the line, Austin and I have been discussing it. If we were able to maybe have you and Bruno on with us at the same time on the show, would that be something you'd be up for doing?
Oh yes, if Bruno's for it, yes, I'd be glad anytime.
Absolutely.
Talk with to my friend. Yeah.
And
alrighty then. Awesome.
Anybody
What's that?
Bruno, like Andre the Giant or Big Show or Bruno, like that. I want to stay friends with those guys.
And I want to end this off with a quote that I really like. It's why live a life if you don't at least do something remarkable? And you have done something so remarkable with your life, and it's just so fascinating and inspiring because not many people actually go out and do something they truly love inside their hearts to do. They go out and do, and you've done everything I think that you ever want to do in your life.
Yep. The only thing I'd like to accomplish is, just give God the glory there now and just be able to please Him and the reason why He put me on this earth and fulfill that. And, I got a good wife and a lovely family, and I'm just so happy. And I want to thank all the fans while I got a chance, and thank you guys for allowing me to be part on here. Just all these years of support, putting up with me in and out of the ring.
It's been such an honor.
Without the fans, we wouldn't have no wrestling. So thank you.
It has been such an honor for us, sir, to have you on here and just have you kind of, talk about what it was like for you growing up. As just like a lot of the wrestlers that they started as fans, and you were no different. You started as a fan, and you just followed your dream, and you never stopped.
Yeah, that's about it. Just for a small town farm boy type thing to accomplish his dream like that, and that's just a good God. I just really appreciate Felix and Austin. Just visiting with you tonight, and anytime you'd like me to come on, I'd be glad to.
That is awesome. We thank you so much for joining us tonight, Mr. Koloff.
God bless. Good night.
Good night, sir. Well, there you have it, folks. The legendary Ivan Koloff. I still, and I know Austin will agree with me, I still think there's a spot for him. If it doesn't happen this year, there's definitely something to set up for next year. Honestly, I would have liked to have seen him go in with Bruno in New York, but that, that's just me.
Yeah. That would be great, but I promise you, there's so many weeks left until WrestleMania. And I know for a fact that he's going to get his name called. Just
you think so, huh?
Swear to God.
You have the inside source. You got the phone. You got Vince's cell phone number or something.
Oh yeah, I have Vince's cell phone number. No, I'm just saying it's a possibility that thing's going to happen because I mean how fitting. I mean you have a guy last year, Bruno Sammartino gets inducted, and then the guy that defeated him for his title the first time gets inducted the following year. I mean it's pretty cool.
It's a must. It has to happen,
if Bruno, it'd be so cool because if Bruno actually inducted him, and then we might have like a show a few months afterwards or maybe the week afterwards or whatever with both of them on there at the same exact time. I mean, how great would that be?
And, it's you really felt how much it meant to him too that he got to get in the ring with his hero. He grew up watching Bruno. I mean, and to be able to say that he got to wrestle him, how cool was that? That to me is very very. And many people don't always get the chance to do that. When you get the opportunity to actually, get in the ring with somebody you've seen on TV, well. Yeah, okay, you could say that because in the 50s they did have TVs back then. But just just in general, to get in the ring with your hero, to face off against your hero, to work with your hero, just put it that way.
If I have a chance, and I promise you, I'm gonna be in WWE one of these days. If I have a chance to wrestle Daniel Bryan, I hope he's doing his thing in about 6 years. I hope he's still doing what he's doing because I want to wrestle him so bad. Like I need to do that before I die. Daniel Bryan or Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, though, what would you say of the show tonight? What did you think about Mr. Koloff?
Absolutely great. I've already, even before we actually started, I was telling you, and you know yourself how good this is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what it was like for as far as getting the idea of bringing him on the show. It had to happen. I mean, I had read that he does do interviews from time to time, and the fact that we stayed in touch all this time because I'd planned this, I booked this about a month ago. And he was very courteous, very respectful, and he definitely sounded very, like he was ready to come on and just have some fun. And I think above anything else, I think he did that.
You talk about guys who are really, who are really good at what they do. There's next guest we're actually having on. I mean, this guy, he's only been wrestling for about a year. His name is Chris Jones, and I promise you guys are gonna tune into the show because he is about to blow up so big in wrestling. Like I've already said, a few months ago, I'm calling it right now. This guy is going to be one of the best wrestlers to ever live. I'm just saying that. I know.
So we go from a wrestling legend to a future star in professional wrestling.
Not even
there you go.
He is great. He is so good, and he reminds me of so many different wrestlers. But I just cannot wait to talk to him next week. I mean, you guys are going to love Chris Jones. He's absolutely great.
And as we were coming on the air, we made the announcement after a nearly 2-month absence, we've decided that it is time to bring it back. We're back. Time to bring Saturday Night Slam back.
And that can either be too good. That can either be a good thing or a not so good thing. Definitely for Felix, because putting up with me is like putting up with a rhino, except with no voice. Rhino doesn't have a voice, but I have a voice.
I don't know. I don't see the comparison. Are you calling yourself a rhino?
Yeah, I'm calling myself a rhino.
Alrighty then.
I'm calling myself a rhino with the roar of a tiger.
All I got to say is, will you stop? Thank you very much.
Oh my God,
all right.
Your catchphrase. I hope you never hear it again.
But great show tonight. I really had some fun with this guy, and to get to speak with the guys who that paved the way for the stars of today. I mean, when it comes right down to it, we're all fans of professional wrestling. Some were just able to go ahead and pursue the dream and make something of that dream. Guys like Bruno, guys like Blackjack, guys like Susan Green, women like Susan Green, guys like Mr. Koloff. Just to give you an example, and then you like to throw that little phrase in there every now and then to our guests on the show, and when the situation calls for it, I think you actually call it perfectly, because a lot of times if you do it for the young guys, I don't know if it means as much as you do when you do it for the legends.
Because, look at everything that Ivan's actually going to do, that did in his career. That's remarkable. I mean, how can that's what I want to do? I want to go out and do everything and more that he's ever done. I mean, I just so just to be and having to have that historical life that he's had. I mean, it's like, how can you live I'm trying
and
to
he truly is at peace with himself in life. He's really he's in a happy place. He's good. He loves his family. He loves his ministry. He loves his just life. And for those of you guys who haven't seen I think I even mentioned this before, the WWE 50 Years of whatever. I can't think of the damn title, but check it out. You get to see a lot of the old timers talking about what it was like. That's why I brought up Vince McMahon Sr. because I really wanted to understand just really what kind of guy he was. I mean, you got a little piece of it in the DVD, but to getting to speak to somebody who actually got to work for him, everybody was just saying, you took him at his word because his word, when you do something like that, I think that's what passed down to Vince Jr. He did a lot of things with the handshake and took you at your word, and that's kind of what led down to ultimately having for sure contracts, but that's another story. But, Vince Sr. and Jr. were a lot alike in that sense, and I thought that was a good thing.
That's why they were so successful with WWE. Gosh, say that. WWE's name, oh my God. You just keep on saying, I have to slow myself down when I say WWE. They were so successful because of how Vince Jr. Senior and Jr. treated the roster, And I don't think if they would have.
If Vince Jr. didn't go against his father's wishes at the time and just leave it as a regional thing, we would have territory still today. Mm-hmm. But Vince obviously saw the bigger picture and knew that he could take it global, and boy, howdy did he.
Yep.
But, yes, next week we have your buddy coming on, Chris Jones. I hope I said his name right. I almost wanted to say somebody else. Anyways, we got some big surprises in store for you guys in March.
Oh my God, yeah.
As for sure, obviously, as mentioned on our website, on the Facebook page, due to the time constraints from last week's show, obviously we announced right away that we were going to bring Jack Jameson back for our March 25th show. Because we started to go and we were getting just barely started, getting into our groove, so to speak, and we had to cut it short. And it was a bummer. We started off talking about his pets and never really got a chance to talk about anything else.
Yeah, we had to talk about his guinea pigs, 2-Pig and Piggy Smalls.
But you make sure you guys check out what we got coming up for you. And, even I'm just still laughing at the one we have March 4th. Not going to reveal who it is until next week.
Come on.
I think you guys will really get a kick out of it. I think I will too. But
let me just say this.
Anyways, any final words, Austin?
Let me give a hint on who next week's guest is. He's a Impact
Wrestling. Well, he's a TNA star right now.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to give you. Oh, yeah, last words. I have a huge announcement to make.
Go ahead.
I am now on Instagram.
That was a huge announcement?
Everybody's clapping right now. Asking themselves, what's the name? How can I follow Austin James on Instagram? Well, it's actually at _Austin James. You can go follow me. I don't want to be pushy. I just follow me, and I won't follow you back. Most likely, I'm not going to follow you back.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you go onto his Instagram and you saw one of those tumbleweeds just kind of floating by because it's like deserted because nobody wants to follow Austin.
Maybe in your Pinterest the tumbleweeds are on your Pinterest where you post pictures of your vegetable garden.
My vegetable garden? I don't think I have a vegetable garden, but that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, keep those secrets, Felix. Everybody knows you're out there.
But tune in this Saturday night as we return with Saturday Night Slam. And, you don't know, if you thought it was bad the first time around, you ain't seen nothing yet. But in the meantime...
They should have an Austin show. Because who cares about Felix or Zach? Jesus. The people talking for 2 hours straight is like hearing chalk on a board scratching.
Who would want to watch your show?
You can't watch a podcast, just saying.
You're funny. You're a funny little man. Okay, then. Make sure you guys check out pipebombradio.weebly.com. You can check out all the links we have on the front page with our Pro Wrestling 101. I just wanted to throw out a little congrats to Justin Credible, who's created his own blog talk radio show. It is on really early in the morning, but he still does his Pro Wrestling 101 YouTube shows as well.
He's on season 2 right now.
He's on what?
He's on season 2 of the Pro Wrestling 101.
I thought he was on season 3.
No, season 2 right now.
I don't know. I don't remember, but I know that he just started his blog talk show. I actually was able to talk to him this morning. But see, I'm in California, and he's on the East Coast. He does his shows at 6 a.m. every morning, East Coast time. So, anyways, going back to the website, we have the Battle Arts Academy. I know Austin is just itching.
Oh my God!
He's just chomping at the bit to get over there to work out with Mr. Wong.
This summer.
Get in. He's going to get his passport. He's going to go. He's going to be Canadian, eh?
I've always wanted to be Canadian. I'm a Canadian at heart, just like my good friend Jimmy Wheeler from the UK. We're both Canadians. Canadians at heart, and that's where we reside at.
No. It's Canadians, eh?
Well, that's obviously what they have to say. They also eat Canadian bacon, and we're going to have to do that. Well, we wouldn't be able to do that at Battle Arts because Steven would probably kick me. We eat bacon while exercising.
And, the one thing we haven't really talked about lately, and we should throw out there, is the making something or other. You remember it better than I do. If you guys haven't set up your WrestleMania plans already, time's running out, you definitely want to get yourself situated so you don't have to worry about any hotels and dealing with the riffraff of kids getting in your way with their yes, and the no, and the boo and all that crap that they do, because they would probably boo Austin if they saw him, but.
I guess so. Another thing, one recommendation I have is to actually buy yourself, if you're coming from anywhere else, besides if you're not in New Orleans already, get yourself a helmet, because when Daniel Bryan walks out of WrestleMania, people's eyes will be poked out. I swear. Remember, watch that. I promise you, the next after WrestleMania, they're going to report like 50,000 different eye injuries or something.
It is very possible. It is very possible. With WrestleMania 30, I don't think anything is really set to, in stone. Obviously, everybody's got the rumor mills going, and, obviously we know one match for sure that's still going to happen, but there could be changes to that, and that being Batista versus Randy Orton for the title. We got the WWE Network debuting this Monday night. We've got the return of The Undertaker. The Immortal One, Hulk Hogan. Brock Lesnar returns. Not Triple H, but Shawn Michaels makes an appearance. They're really going to blow it up this Monday night, so I don't know where you guys are going to be, but I'm going to be watching TV and enjoying the view and be like, all right, where's my WWE Network? Time to get in there and check out the Legends House.
Legends House, yes. And then you also have to talk about NXT Arrival. That's going to be on Thursday.
Yes, and then you can check out the NXT, definitely. It's going to be on, I think, is it going to be on there and normal time that they normally do their shows?
No, it's actually going to be head-to-head with Impact.
It's going to be what?
Head-to-head with Impact on Thursday night. It's going to be.
Damn.
It's going to be starting at 7 p.m. and then they're going to be going into an hour, which is going to be on Impact while they're going to have the same time. But it's even the network of NXT Raw, the first ever pay-per-view for NXT, highlighted with Adrian Neville versus Bo Dallas in the ladder match, and Sami Zayn versus Antonio Cesaro in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
And if you have not been impressed with Cesaro, and by the way, he's not Antonio, he's just Cesaro now. With his matches with Randy Orton and John Cena, I'm just saying, this guy's, he's been, and even Charlie Haas told me one time, many years ago, well, a few years ago, he told me this guy was going to be a big star in WWE if they use him properly, and so far, they have. Not going to lie, it's been pretty fun. I think they need to push him away from Zeb and Jack and let him do his own thing, but that's just me. But,
like I said, what Felix just said, if you're not impressed by Antonio Cesaro, nothing can impress you. That's it.
And that's saying something for Austin, who never gets impressed by anybody or anything. So.
Yeah, I'm impressed by certain people. We just have to do certain things to impress me.
But if you guys want a little piece of what it was like for Saturday Night Slam, for those who don't remember, check out all of our past Saturday Night Slam shows when we debuted last summer to when I guess you could say the end of season 1. I guess you could say we officially are going to be starting season 2 this Saturday night, along with our past episodes that are also available on YouTube. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, check out all of our past shows from season 1, and a lot of the shows that have already been done for season 2. And let me just say, the best is yet to come.
Let's make an edited version of Saturday Night Slam with just my voice.
Why would anybody want to hear your voice? I think if anybody heard your voice, they might hang up their phones or turn off their music or whatever it is that they're listening, however they're listening.
Well, my mom wants to hear my voice when she did the ultrasound.
Okay.
That
anyway.
was about a long time ago. Well, I'm just saying. I mean, at least she does. I mean, I think a lot of other people would too. Because I'm Austin, that's
and we definitely want to wish our fellow team member of Pipebomb Radio, Mr. Elio Canella, 2 N's on Canella, remember that.
2 N's.
Speedy recovery, as he's been recovering from surgery. We wish him well. We wish him to hurry up and get his butt back here. But have a speedy recovery, pal.
I made him sit down and watch a bunch of Pegasus Kid matches from New Japan.
Oh, I'm sure he loved you. He loved you for that.
Oh my God, yes. He had to watch him. Jushin Liger. I mean, so many guys made him watch.
But I guess we'll call it a night tonight. On behalf of Austin, this is Felix for Pipebomb Radio saying, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Good night, everybody. Good night, Austin.
Bye, man.